things like exercise, creating meals, spending time with family in good community, having accountability with conversation at coffee with a friend, talking about where you're at in your life and where they're at. Those are great ways to spend your free time. Spending time on mindless, meaningless things can actually affect your mind, and you can be influenced by the things that you're actually putting into your mind, and they can change your behavior, your mindsets, your thought processes, and actually push you further back.
So if people just place that same attention, the same thing they place on the podcast, on the books, on the movies, back onto themselves for a long enough time, they will know themselves like they have never known themselves before.
Welcome back to PWR Podcast. I'm Hogue Jr.
And I'm Brian Shleifer.
How's your week been, man?
It's been great.
You've been traveling?
Traveling this week? Nope, not traveling this week. Just been busy with client meetings.
Nice.
Yeah, just working hard. How about yourself?
Same, bro. I've been working literally 50-hour weeks the last 2 weeks. Today worked a 10-hour shift, so just a lot of work, been busy. But we are trying to stay consistent with this. Super excited about it. We really appreciate the audience that has stayed consistent of watching our episodes and commenting on our podcast episodes.
We appreciate the feedback.
Yes, for sure. We got one funny comment on TikTok the other day. Someone said that our podcast sounded like we were recording on tin cans. That is my fault on that because I accidentally lost the audio file in the previous episode. But we did the best we could to master the file we had. But moving forward, we'll be sure to fix those kind of issues.
Yeah, they look like tin cans. We drink out of tin cans, but the audio is definitely not tin can.
These tin cans are pretty good, though.
Yeah. So, but we got a special guest today, right?
Yeah, we do.
So we're super excited to have Justin back on set to learn more about what he's doing and learn more about the chiropractic world.
For sure. Welcome, Justin Jones.
Woo! Thank you. Blessed to be here, man.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, bro. How are you?
Great.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, dude.
How you been?
Oh, I've been living life.
Yes.
Happy.
You're still a full-time student right now?
Yeah, man. I graduate in December.
Oh, wow. That's soon. That's cool.
Yeah, that's like 3 months.
Wow. What's your plans after that?
Plans remain the same, to open up my own chiropractic practice with my beautiful fiance.
Congratulations.
Blending chiropractic and Reiki care together.
What's Reiki care? What did you say?
Reiki is a form.
He's so serious.
Reiki
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Some people say it wrong. They say, well, I guess there's not a right or wrong way to say it, but you get like reggae or Reiki. But Reiki is it's just another expression of healing, energetic wise. So you're really trying to move stagnant energy within the body so that there can be a continuous flow of energy through the system.
Awesome. That's cool.
So blending that with chiropractic, that will be the goal after I graduate.
So what's been your favorite part of your educational course so far in this study?
Finding more about what healing and health means to me has been by far the most important and favorite part of this journey.
What keeps people from realizing is it simple? Is it people struggle with just taking care of themselves? Is it mindsets? What do you think is the main thing that people could learn or take away from what you can give?
Yeah, like you said, and Brian even mentioned it, we were talking earlier, like it is simple. The messages are simple. It's not so much that it's hard to get, it's that it's subtle. And people tend to have an attention span that is conditioned through just growing up in society to be very short. The attention span is very short. Therefore, it cannot stay on a certain intention for long enough for it to actually unfold. And if we're talking about healing and health and wellness and abundance, then we're talking about how strong your attention span is to hold on to that intention so that it can actually come into your life.
Gotcha.
So I think it's simple, but it's subtle. And the subtlety of it creates the perception of it being hard to grasp.
So it's all like having discipline and like follow through and consistency with like what the message is and the purpose of the education, or like what treatment that you're working with the client with, or I mean, what is it that our listeners could take away when it comes to that?
Yeah, it would have to be community, accountability, and connection. If we're talking healthcare, or if we're talking anything really, if you're trying to create anything.
Community. So community is important.
Yeah.
What does good community look like?
Good community looks like a place that you can go where there is no self-judgment or judgment towards others, because anytime there is perceived judgment, you don't express yourself.
You don't feel comfortable.
You don't feel comfortable if
or
you don't.
Fear of judgment, right?
Or fear of
Because
judgment.
like some of the
Exactly.
stuff we'll say today, or have conversations with our friends or clients and family, right? We might not say something with the fear of being judged or ridiculed from our thought process or opinion.
Yeah, we might not say something. And what happens when you resist saying something? It creates what? Tension.
Anxiety.
Every single time you resist an impulse that wants to come out, it has to go somewhere. If it doesn't get expressed, it will build up in the system, therefore producing tension within the system.
That makes sense.
Right? So I think a lot of people should find themselves surrounded by good community. And it's good community when you're able to speak freely.
You said 3 points.
Community, connection, and accountability.
Okay, accountability is huge. Having somebody to like be honest with you. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
That will just actually help you get a lot of places in life. Just having someone who's really honest with what you're doing.
Transparent communication.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's cool. So do you study a lot with like body nutrition though, and exercise and things like that, or is it more of mindsets and like?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I used to focus on those type of things very heavily, like nutrition, like things I can take, supplementations, all of these things. Now there is a purpose for it, but my biggest thing now in life is how can I better convey or articulate that you only go as far as your attention will let you go. So you have to be able to recognize that if you aren't training your attention, it will get lost and swallowed up into distraction. And once that happens,
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, actually. Just how much time we waste in general when you pick up your phone and you get lost on TikTok for 30 minutes and you could have done something else, but you're filling your mind with just junk. Like the attention that you're giving to TikTok and what you're getting out of it is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're just wasting time. But a lot of different platforms or a lot of different areas, things like exercise, creating meals, spending time with family in good community, having accountability with conversation at coffee with a friend, talking about where you're at in your life and where they're at. Those are great ways to spend your free time. Spending time on mindless, meaningless things can actually affect your mind, and you can be influenced by the things that you're actually putting into your mind, and they can change your behavior, your mindsets, your thought processes, and actually push you further back. It's kind of crazy.
Well, what's that one saying? It's like, show me your 10 friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
Because
what you
your influence, if it's, your community, your friendships, what you're watching on Netflix or on TikTok will influence you if it's subconsciously, or consciously thought. But
I'm at the point in my life where I can't do it. Like I'm actually I would delete social media if I didn't post on social media because I just can't be on it.
It's just a necessity for business these days too. I mean, the amount of
I market businesses, so I have to have the apps, but I can't sit there and scroll. I get angry. It bothers me. The meaningless content that I see, and kids just are constantly scrolling.
But
and going through it.
That's the challenge, though, dude. Like the anger it produces is the challenge for you to be like, why does this sway me so much? That would be a beautiful question to ask yourself. Like, what really is causing me to be angry at this? Because it's not this that's making me angry, because not everybody's angry at the same thing.
Well, yeah.
So that's
what I was thinking about for myself. Am I sensitive to am I sensitive to the concept, or am I seeing things that actually bother me? In my personal standpoint on morality and things that I believe are right and wrong. A lot of things that I see nowadays on YouTube and on social media bother me morally. They bother me because you've got girls putting things on social media to promote their whatever they're trying to, their agenda is, and it's inappropriate, but kids are seeing it, and they're being they're being made aware of things that maybe we at our age or at their age when we were their age were never even aware of. But now that it's on their cell phone or iPad or iPod being available, they're it's now in their minds. They now have awareness of it, and it can shift our whole next generation in a negative way. When I think about it that way, it bothers me, and that's where the anger kind of comes from. Not really anger, it's more of just like frustration. Like, we need people to be creating content that's going to be educational, that's going to be helping people grow, not meaningless, mindless stuff that just gets clicks and views, because it's really going too far at this point. And I was just watching an episode of the Nelk Boys podcast. They have a podcast called Full Send Podcast, and they had Candace Owens on. Candace Owens is absolutely amazing because she literally speaks what she feels and what she knows is right, kind of like what I feel like I'm trying to do right now. But she was talking about a lot of these topics, and I was going through the comments, and people were agreeing with her like a lot. And so it definitely is a problem, and if we can be a fix to that problem, then I definitely want to be. But I encourage our audience to be mindful of what you're putting out on social media, be mindful of what you're taking in from social media, and what you're spending your time with, because a lot of this can just be a waste of time. Like, I was even thinking about it with music. Like, when you're listening to music and your friends, like, you're with your friends and they're all listening to music and they're putting on the popular artists, they're putting on the popular hits, you're going to want to listen to that stuff by yourself because all your friends listen to it. But when you think about it, is it actually bringing anything to your life, or is it just filling your ears to fill your mind while you're doing something? But so you could really think, oh wait, I could listen to a podcast on my own time, learn from that. I could listen to uplifting music that's going to bring, my soul up, or it's going to bring joy to my spirit, things like that. And a lot of us just really go by what other people do and what the culture thinks is cool, just because that's the way that life is. It's just kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. If you can be a person that like shifts from that and actually is authentic yourself, you're going to grow. You're going to do better. You're going to be financially successful because you're not buying into everything that everybody else buys into, and you're saving your money, or you're investing into businesses or things like that. So I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about it.
I mean, obviously, you all know I'm in finance, right?
Yeah.
I do financial planning. And one of the things I always tell my clients is like, hey, the stuff you see on social media where, all your friends or wannabe friends are, going on these crazy travel trips and going to Disney every weekend, going shopping, we don't know the story behind that, right? And that just because they're doing it doesn't mean you need to do it. And some folks even believe that they have to compete with their friends and post the same thing and go into debt to show their friends that, I can go to Disney too. And it's like, it puts a hardship on your family or your financial picture.
It's so true.
Stretching your own financial budget so thin because you feel like the whole world or all your friends in your circle are doing it.
I saw a meme on Facebook yesterday, and there was this couple was laying in front of a big pile of like rock or something like that. And they were like taking a picture, like laying on the ground with like drinks in their hand, just to act like they were on a trip, like because the background with the rocks looked like they were in front of like a mountain or something. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we're just trying to because all our friends are on vacation, we're trying to post something like we're on vacation.
Hashtag North Carolina.
So it's like actually a thing. Yeah, it's crazy.
The biggest
that is crazy.
thing should be addressed is, why is there a perceived lack belief that you have, that you feel like you're lacking something, which is creating the drive to do that in the first place?
Yeah.
Like why do people do that? Because they feel as though they may not have validation or confirmation from society, so they have to put themselves out to get it.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're lacking validation, you're going to try to do as much as you can to get validation.
Yeah.
So I think the question of, it kind of gets answered when we're like, well, why are people doing these things? Why is this happening? It's because the world's so much so many people in the world, not so much the world, but so many people in the world have this deep rooted sense of I'm lacking something. And in my opinion, people who are listening to this too, like the most genuine thing you can do for yourself is realize that everything you want is already here. You have it. You're equipped with it, right? You have life flowing through you. There's not one person that's born with something you don't have. You have the ability to create, to express.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And if people start to view this, then...
Right, to push yourself, to challenge yourself, to grow, to take on new opportunities,
Yeah.
and make new connections.
Then we
and
start growing and creating out of abundance instead of growing and creating out of lack, which is kind of what you're describing.
Yeah.
All the things on social media are created because there's a sense of lack
I mean,
within
all
society.
three of us are business owners.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone here owns their own business.
Mhm.
Right. Working on their own business or multiple businesses. And how many times have we heard, "Man, I wish I had my own business," or "Look at that person so successful because."
What did
they
it take
this,
for
they
us?
did that."
What did it take for us to create our own thing? Thinking about it,
Being
figuring out how to
creative,
do it, and doing
Having
it.
making a plan, having will, having follow through, staying disciplined.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not just
going
being
to friends who can offer you valuable insight and
Mhm.
say, "This is a great idea," or
exactly.
you should I would tweak this, or
Yeah.
"Have you thought about this?" "Oh, thanks for your perspective."
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I want to ask you a question about being in college and in school still. Do you see a lack of drive in your generation in the study area, like in college and in university? Do you feel like you have to like almost wait on students sometimes or anything like that, or?
I think what I see is students caught in the perception that they're limited because they're students. Like they're waiting to do things until they graduate because they're in the student mindset.
Okay.
But in reality, it's actually limiting you because...
This is a great topic. I like that. Actually, I thought about that when I was in college. Actually,
Yeah.
Because I had the same ideas of dreaming of all this stuff, and I was like, not until I finish college, not until. But you can be learning, you can be educating yourself, you can be doing what you just said.
You can
Meet
start your-
somebody, talk to somebody,
You can
have
start
conversation.
investment accounts. You can work on yourself. You can build your business. You can surround yourself with the right people that are gonna catapult you.
That's so
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
We need
either
negativity.
of you struggled with mental health?
Yeah, I think mental health is a challenge for everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
It's every single person I talk to on a daily basis. My friends, my clients, everyone is. They're all dealing with so much. Everyone's so stressed or
Mhm.
overwhelmed. Things are getting crazier every month. It seems like.
Yeah.
And that weighs on you. And it's like, how do you release it positively? Right.
It's the
Positively.
three things that you said earlier, I believe, honestly.
Hmm.
The community,
Mm-hmm.
accountability, and
Yeah, I was going to say
what was the third one?
connection.
Connection.
Yeah.
So-
Community, accountability, connection. And again, self-expression is big with creating tension in the system. A lot of people think it's because they take on poor postures or they're doing things. And although that may have a contribution to like physical pain, but people should really tap into the tension they feel in their body and ask, what am I not saying or doing? What do I keep resisting? That's causing a buildup of this tension that I can't discharge.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you talk about the system, any system in the world has two components to it, a charge and a discharge. Humans are no different. We take in charge and then we have to discharge. If we don't discharge properly, we're going to have pathology, we're going to have disease, we're going to have sickness, we're going to have illness.
I think a lot of people that deal with depression and like serious mental health issues, I think one of their biggest problems is they try to just close down, stay to themselves, don't talk in general to anybody, and that's a problem. That stuff builds up and it flusters
It
and
compounds.
it compounds,
Mhm.
and that's when you have a serious problem. The connection, family, friends, communication, accountability, talking, sharing your heart, sharing your emotions with people you can trust, and that's where the other one comes in. I don't know why I can't remember these.
Connection,
No, the first
community,
one.
accountability, community.
Accountability.
Okay.
Yes.
It all
I lost
comes
my,
into play.
I lost my thoughts, but it's so important to really focus on sharing how you feel. I definitely do that myself, and it's important.
100%.
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, every emotion or everything you're experiencing in life, there's really two options, right? From a psychological standpoint, it's like it's either going to make you feel good, so you do it, or it's going to create fear or something that you don't like, and you're not going to do it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, any decision that you make, if it's for business, for relationships, you're going to ask yourself, is this going to hurt me? Am I going to like it, not like it? And there's only two options.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's really important to think about, because when you're looking at yourself and the negativity, well, the way you're releasing yourself is that release going to be drinking a bottle of alcohol and giving you a positive or negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
It might make you feel positive, but let's look at the totality of circumstances.
What happens when you wake up the next morning and you're late for work? You still feel the exact same way, probably, emotionally, and maybe even it compounded because you just put off the thoughts that you could have really went through during that free time you had. Now you got to go right back into your busy life with all these new issues, and so now it's just compounded. It's never any good to use any kind of like alcohol, drugs, anything like that to help self-medicate yourself. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. Go for a run, talk to somebody, go to church, like do something that's just positive.
And I think honestly, don't even go for a run for the same concept of, like, some people go on a run or work out and that is their alcohol. Like, although, it's healthier.
Because they're avoiding even thinking.
It's just a compensation to deal with something.
Face your problems, face them front on, deal with them immediately.
Yeah.
And find that person in your life that you can be accountable with and have a real relationship with, and not just be fake friends.
Exactly.
Because so many people are just fake friends. They just want to be cool. They just want to, hey, we had a great time every time. And when you just have a great time every time, there's no value in that relationship.
You also hinder like how much you can learn from everyday experiences. Like, for instance, I was running on the beach and I realized that I was running not to get to point A to point B, or to run from problems or to hide. I genuinely was enjoying the process of running and just being aware of my body running, not waiting to get to the finish line or, oh my God, I can't wait for this to be over. Like, that mindset starts to come in when I started to become less of a victim. And because think about it, this is interesting. If you were trying to do something to compensate for not wanting to see something, you are now a victim to that thing you don't want to see. It has control over you, right?
Yeah.
If you live a life and you're a victim, living a life as a victim, you will automatically feel not great. Because in my experience, every time I felt like I was a victim, I always felt heavy, dense, depressed, and anxious, because it doesn't seem to be natural. You were mentioning things in the world you mentioned something about things in the world being normal, and you kind of made it like
culture. Culture sets the normal status.
And in my mind, it's like, what is normal is not always natural. And how do you know it's not natural? Look at the world. Look how many diseases and pathologies and mental illnesses there are. Clearly, we are not living in a natural society.
Yeah.
So
that didn't exist thousands of years ago to the same.
Yes, exactly. You have to look at the way everything's, just because it's normal does not mean it's natural. And how do you know it's not natural? Look around and look at the body and how it is rejecting it all. Pathology, disease, mental illness is literally a symptom of the intelligence that governs everything rejecting it and saying this is not how you should be living. And if people paid attention and had a greater relationship, as I spoke before, with that intelligence that governs everything, right? The thing that created you also created everything. So how could you be sad? How could you be depressed?
Yeah.
The same power that made you also made every single thing on this earth. So the beautiful thing about what you're mentioning, because we had this talk about like, what name do you give it? In my mind, I had this experience where I realized that it doesn't care what I call it, right? Because I can call it something else and you can call it God, but yet we are still living. Therefore, meaning God is still supplying us, our source, whatever that thing is still giving me life just as much as it's giving you life. So it doesn't blink an eye at what the name is. It doesn't necessarily need to be called anything. It's still here. And I think that's big because people argue about the name all the time. And it's like, dude, you're missing the whole point of it. If you're stuck on the name, you're missing the essence of what that power is, that intelligence that governs everything is. The only reason I use that word intelligence is because it's talked about in chiropractic.
That makes sense.
Chiropractic.
That makes
That just
sense.
made me think of something. So, you know, I know, I'm not sure if you knew, but I know we talked about one of the first 1 or 2 episodes.
Okay.
I was raised Jewish, right? So I went to Rosh Hashanah on Friday, right? Over here at local synagogue, and the rabbi was, first, Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year.
Okay.
So it's very, you know what I mean? It was very, you know.
I've been to a few Jewish services.
Yeah, I mean, it felt really good. You felt really rejuvenated, right? A fresh start, new goals, you know. And the rabbi was talking about a story, and it was talking about, you know, these 2 rabbis that one was sick and one was coming to nurture, right, the other rabbi, give him, you know, purpose and support. And he went in there, and the other rabbi was in so much pain, and he said, you know, you know, talk to God, believe in God, give me your hand, and you know, you'll get through this. And he said, no, like I can't, because if, you know, if God loves me, he would not make me feel this in so much pain, you know what I mean? So the rabbi left, and the rabbi came back another time, said, no, give me your hand, you know, accept the pain, you know, because, you know, God's speaking to you. And he said, no, you know, aggressively, just, I don't want to, this is not right, this, you know, make this pain go away. Just, you know, so much negativity, hostility, frustration with, you know, why God, or the purpose it was of that. So the rabbi left, came back a 3rd time. He extended out his hand to him, and finally the rabbi reached out to him, held his hand, and instantly felt the connection of the empathy and support and healing that, you know, comes from believing and accepting.
Yeah.
And you know, it was just like really great. I just thought about that.
Yeah.
It's like the takeaway was that for having empathy, and how more people need to have empathy for how others are feeling.
Yeah.
And truly listening to how others are feeling, and continuing to extend your reach to provide support.
Yeah.
Because
This is
people
so
need
true.
that.
Yes.
A lot of people are hurting.
A lot of people are hurting because they're lacking the awareness of the intrinsic inborn support that they have. And you mentioned this word support, and it brings up a concept, and it's just like people don't realize that they're 100% supported all the time. Like, go wake up tomorrow and choose to not feel great, and watch how much something will support you. Wake up tomorrow and feel amazing, and watch how much something will support you for free, by the way. You don't have to pay this mysterious thing to support you.
Right.
But yet people think they're not supported.
It's true.
How can you think you're not supported when something allows you to feel everything?
Negativity in your mind, like just the mindset of negativity, affects everything. If you think more positive, and you think not just being happy, good shoes like all day, every day, but thinking I'm thankful for what I do have. Like, things might not be going good, but I still have food, I still have money, I still have a car, I still have a house, I still live in America, I still have a family. Like, if you think about things like that, rather than, oh, my bill's coming up and I don't have the money. Well, guess what? You can figure that out, and you still have everything you need today.
Dude, yeah.
You still have your family to support you if you're in a struggling time. Like, not everybody does, but there are so many people that just get stuck in this negative mindset. Everything's bad. Everything's bad. I'm never going to find the girl. I'm never going to finish school. I'm never going to do that. If you think like that and you live like that for a long period of time, your mind's going to get structured to be just a negative, downer, beater all the time, and it's going to affect your life. You're never going to progress. You're never going to grow if you're just constantly beating yourself down.
And
so, you become your thoughts, and your thoughts become your words, and your words become your actions become your routine.
Your actions become your routine, your habit. And I see it as going further than that, because when I pay attention to my thoughts, I realize my thoughts are a product of my state of being, right? So in my state of being is literally how I'm being, right? How I'm deciding to be. So this is the beautiful part, is that people also tend to forget that they have this ability to choose. Yeah. They have the ability of choice. Yeah. Like, I get to choose how I want to perceive this event. The event that's happening doesn't have a set definition or meaning until I'm there to give it a set definition or meaning. You would have to really sit back and find conviction in that statement if you want to be really, really, in my experience, truly free. Like, I use it tip, like say for a roller coaster. You hop on a roller coaster and you have the worst time of your life and you're crying, but the person next to you is having the best time of their life.
Right.
But people will blame the roller coaster for that. Clearly, it's not the roller coaster because it made another person feel completely different. You just decided to see and perceive the roller coaster differently, and you're forgetting that you always have that power to choose.
It's
so
true.
Why not exercise it as much as you can? Why not consciously wake up every day and say, how am I choosing to be right now? Not how does my job make me feel? How am I choosing to see my job, which is causing me to feel this way?
Yeah.
Exercise this power.
Wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I'm going to have a good day. It might be, Thursday, and you still got one more work day of the week, and you're dead tired already. But guess what? It's Thursday morning. You have the morning to wake up, put a smile on your face, get excited, go to work, bring some joy to your work. Don't be the negative person at work.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
You will attract more of that into your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you go into work negative, you will see nothing but negativity because it's your state of being.
If you go in positive, though, you're going to put somebody else that might have been in a negative mood in a positive mood from your positivity.
Yeah.
And your day is going to shift. Your coworker is going to be excited to be around you.
100%.
Attitude is important.
This is big.
Behavior and perspective I love that. It's great.
And remember, you have the ability to choose. If you keep forgetting it, you will always fall victim and blame. If you find yourself blaming people, catch yourself in that moment and say, I'm forgetting to exercise my right to choose.
This guy's full of good points. I love this so much. I love this. Yes, blaming. You have experience with I could go on about that, just blame shifting. People constantly will just, it's not my fault. I'm not the reason. But in reality, if you're really honest with yourself, yes, you didn't choose to do something. You didn't communicate something properly. You didn't, just blame shift every time. Mm-hmm. And you're never going to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in that scenario with never taking ownership or accountability for
if you know anyone who, can relate to this, right? We're empowering you to speak to the ones you care about, right? And say, hey, I noticed you've been doing this, or this is a tactic you can improve. And empower your friends and
be honest, be authentic.
Authentic, yeah. Say what you want to say, express yourself.
Yes, and do it with love. Don't be
rude.
Don't be
Yeah, that's the disclaimer,
right?
Right?
Disrespectful, but do it in love. Go to somebody, go to a brother, go to a sister, and say, hey, I've noticed this, and I want to just bring this to your attention
because I care.
Because I care. Yeah.
So you said do it with love. That is the disclaimer. You have to honor integrity. And to me, integrity is not having to manipulate somebody or take something from somebody for me to feel powerful or good about myself. And some people give advice because they want to be seen as being a good person from the perspective of the person that they're giving advice to. Right. And if you go in and try to give advice for that reason, you are doing more damage than good. So you have to be willing to give advice without being thanked for it. I need to be able to give advice to somebody, and I have to be okay with them not thanking me for it, because I don't need the thanks, because it was genuine advice.
They might not even agree with what you feel or what you tell them because they're too prideful or too stuck in that scenario. It might take a few times of going to them. It might take a few examples of them realizing, oh, wait, he was right.
Exactly.
Before that one person realizes that they have an issue. And that's a good point. You're not always going to be heard right away and appreciated right away for doing that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it could actually turn into something difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like half the time I'm a behavioral financial counselor, right?
That's probably difficult.
And I have to really hear what my clients are saying, if it's good or bad or indifferent, and give them honest feedback on how they can improve their situation. Yeah. And it's purely, the lack of education that we have in society, right? And how many parents didn't teach their kids? And I've noticed that more and more with the younger generations, right? It's just the education just it's not there, right?
Saving money.
Did you have any classes in high school?
My parents did a very good job. My parents, I'm so appreciative of my parents. Mm-hmm. I didn't always listen, and that's one of the biggest issues a lot of people face. It's just they don't listen. I really wish I listened to my parents more when it comes to financial advice. And advice really in general. But
it's really just being open-minded, accepting the advice.
A couple episodes ago, you were talking about how people have $600 a month on just random stuff in their expenses.
And Grubhub?
Yeah, crazy, just random. That is a huge issue, and people need to realize
Netflix
that.
subscriptions, like subscribing to every app out there, but you're too busy to watch any of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're spending all your time watching them and you're not working.
Yeah.
That's a huge issue.
Having all these goals, but not focusing any time on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying like I'll watch the show, then I'll work on it. Then the time comes and you finished your show at midnight and you don't have any time to work on what you said you were going to work on because you procrastinated. And
See,
so many people deal with procrastination. Bro. That's one of the biggest things that can hold people back from a dream.
exactly. And I love it because it's not to be hateful of it or to talk down on that type of behavior, because again, if you want to start seeing this and start to express gratitude for what the body's able to do and capable to do, the only reason people fall into patterns and habits in the first place is because the body always works in favor of you. You are training it. So when you just find it easy to go home and turn on Netflix, it's because you've done it enough times so that the nervous system starts to develop a certain pattern, so you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But we view it as, holy crap, how can you do that? We're blown away, but we know how they can do it. It's because they've repeated it over and over again.
It's just normal.
So now the question is, how do we educate people on how to break their patterns, how to shed their patterns so they can
let's talk
adapt?
From personal experience, for me, I dealt with a lot of this. Like I have dealt with a lot of this from 19 to like 21. I used to be the kid that would go home and put on Friends after work. Now I don't. Now I go home, I spend an hour with my family, I go upstairs and I get some media work done. I figure out what I can learn from the project I was in, and maybe I realized I need to learn something more on that project. I go and do research. I don't sit there and turn on my TV. I have a TV in my room and it literally stays unplugged. But it took me realizing, wait, I can make more money from just my day job if I come home and figure out how to make more money. Or I could have, a happier, more loving life if I spend some time with my family or people in my life rather than wasting time in front of a screen. So those things, when I realized both those things, that A, I'm having more connection with my family or my friends, and B, I'm making more money because I'm spending my time wisely. Those two things shifted my whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
But
I think sitting and watching, a program takes the same amount of discipline as it does to go run on a beach.
Yeah, we mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
it's something to think about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's still time out of your day, and it's.
But what's the trade? That's actually Candace Owens was talking about that on this recent podcast. There's a trade in everything in life. So you're giving your time. What are you getting out of that time? So if you're watching a TV show, you're mushing your brain. That's the truth. You're not getting anything out of it. You might have a conversation with one friend about the show you watched. That's it. You watch a video about a career path that you're trying to get into and you're learning from it. You're now having more knowledge towards your goal of getting into that career. Okay? If you are spending time working on a project that's going to make you money instead of watching a Netflix show when you have your free time, then guess what? You're going to get money out of that trade. You put your time into your work instead of this TV show, now you're making money. So, yes, it's discipline, but at the same time, I think it's absolutely retarded.
I think...
I hardly watch TV.
See,
like,
that's good. I think that's great. I watch TV with...
I
don't.
I watched some sports this weekend.
Oh, actually, are you into sports at all? Do you like football?
No.
Okay. I've watched just like the main games. Like I watch opening seasons. I watch the Super Bowl. I think those are like family cool, fun things to do. Like get pizza, wings, like just hang out.
I love it.
I'm finding interest in like a little bit of like these fantasy leagues and stuff like that right now, where you can make money from it. So I don't know a whole lot because I've never spent a lot of time in the space. So I'm kind of in this season. I'm interested in watching a little bit of football and some sports in general. But
I feel like it's a full-time job to keep track of.
it is.
All that
There's
stuff,
so many games, bro. So many. Like every Sunday, there's like 4 or 5. It's insane.
Well, I mean, and some people spend their whole weekend watching the sport, and I just wonder, how many things you sacrifice. You know?
You're always getting what you want out of whatever you're doing, or else you wouldn't be
doing it. I can't even
it.
say 100% that I'm interested yet. I just have the idea of like, wait, this might be fun to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, all my friends who really take the sports fantasy leagues or, watching sports
A lot of my
seriously.
families.
Yeah.
They're knowledgeable about it.
Yeah.
Way more than me.
They
That's
know
for
a
damn
lot.
sure.
They know the players, the teams. I don't know any of it, so I'm like, well, maybe I could learn a little bit. But at the
You're
same
always-
time, is it valuable? Like, do they actually make a lot of money? Are they losing money? Because in sports betting, you lose a lot of money in general. I have a friend that literally went broke from sports betting, and he had a lot of money. And
Gambling.
Dude, it's valuable to, again, you're always getting what you want out of the thing that you're doing. So to these people, if you can adopt their perspective and like just open up to that perspective, they're probably finding community in it, community that they feel they were lacking. So therefore they're going to do this thing.
It's so
This is
true.
why people fall
Yeah.
into
It's
book clubs
validation.
and
It's validation.
yeah, dude, all of the habits that people have, you got to investigate your habits. You got to investigate your habits and ask, are these compensations? Do I binge watch these shows because I'm compensating not wanting to look at something in my world or life or do something?
Or think about something.
Yeah. And in my experience, you shared your experience of kind of how you were able to shed or resolve these beliefs and habits. And I feel as though I was able to do that through investigating my habits and realizing where did they come from. Like, I was not born with them, so I had to adopt them at some point in my life. And again, that's a really powerful statement.
Culture? Was it culture?
If you're viewing this and you're listening, you can ask yourself this one question. I was not born with it, so where did it come from? Through that question, there will be, I promise you, an opening to like really understanding why you do the things you do on a daily basis. If you understand why you do the things you do on a daily basis, you're starting to study more of yourself. The same attention that you place on looking at the shows and scrolling through Instagram, you're gathering it back up and placing it onto yourself. You will learn more about yourself. It is impossible not to gain information and insights and discoveries. It's impossible not to gain insights, information, discoveries when you place your attention on something. So for example, maybe you guys agree with this. If you place your finger out in front of you and stare at your finger that's been on your body, my body, 27 years, I guarantee you I can write a page of new discoveries about my finger just because I'm placing strong attention onto it. Kind of like when you're studying for a test, you learn more about the test when you place your strong attention onto it. Mm-hmm. So if people just place that same attention, the same thing they place on the podcast, on the books, on the movies, back onto themselves, for a long enough time, they will know themselves like they have never known themselves before. It just takes training your attention.
Yes.
Not detraining your attention, training your attention.
Becoming self-aware.
Yes. The detraining of your attention is short videos, short reels, short clips that take your attention, leave it. Take your attention, leave it. Take your attention, leave it.
Yeah, it trains you to just accept those little
Dude,
limits, I mean,
it's insane.
You got to balance that with attention training or meditation.
You gotta have attention on your attention. Literally, you have to you have to pay attention to what you're putting your attention to.
Exactly. You have to become aware.
And for him, he put his attention on his lifestyle, and then you realized you could have written a book about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that perspective.
That's how, to me, you deconstruct where your beliefs came from. Because again, you were born naked. You were born free. So where did it come from?
So
Deconstruct it.
Brian's dad, that probably changed your whole lifestyle in general to be a little bit more focused on the importance of just wholesomeness, like taking care of yourself and your family, right?
That's right.
Because that's a whole different experience.
Well, I mean, it's just, the first thing was like, I can't take care of my two boys if I can't take care of myself.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to lead from example by taking care of myself physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, and being a good role model for them, right? And providing for them so they can learn the right ways to act in life, right? But I mean, really, you could take it a step further, and how can we be a better, liaison or leader in our community, right? Because there's people that we're going to influence, not knowing, who's around us and who's watching us, right? I mean, perspective, the eyes are always on you. Like if it's social media, if it's in person, it's word of mouth. It travels fast, and so it's very important to consider that.
That's a big I feel like, I mean, I wouldn't know, but becoming a father or even just a parent in general is a huge.
It's a life shift.
I always use this. I always say this, like when I'm trying to create or get things done, I always say, I got that baby on the way energy. Because when you got a baby on the way, most people investigate what their time is being put on, and they're able to make those decisions because the prioritization and the desire to change is high because there's a baby on the way.
Yeah.
So I say, yeah, right. I got that baby on the way energy because that's the drive you got to have if you want to make big changes, right? Like most people change their lives because they got a baby on the way.
Very self-aware at that point, I believe. Like, you really do focus on like all of your negative traits, and you're like, I need to fix all of those.
Right.
Baby on the way.
And if it was a negative trait today, then let's fix it tomorrow.
Being the oldest of 10 siblings, I pretty much kind of feel like a parent sometimes because like they're all little. A lot of them in general, they're in elementary school, middle school, and I do help because I live at home, and I just absolutely love just like realizing that, hey, I've learned a lot. I can grow still. I can still like I'm an influence on these kids, and if I can be a positive influence, like what does that look like? You know, what is a negative part of me that might influence them, and what do I need to change about me? So constantly thinking about that, and I feel like I kind of have a perspective on what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, one of my buddies today just texted me and said that he found out that his girlfriend's pregnant, and he's like, I'm gonna be needing advice, and it's like, man, I love that. Already seeking, you know what I mean, advice, you know, 9 months, right? So he's got that, he's got that
baby on the way energy, right?
Yeah.
Dude, hashtag that. I got baby on the way energy, dude. Whether you have a baby coming or not, like you got that energy to make big changes.
But think about this perspective too, though. Like if you're that person with a business plan or a dream, and you do put a date on it, like you say, hey, you know, beginning of next year, I want to launch it. I want it to go public. That's the same kind of baby on the way energy. Yeah. There's a baby on the way, and it's going to be in front of all of your audience on social media, in front of everybody in your life, and you're going to have to do between now and then whatever it takes to make that accomplished and successful. And whatever you need to do now becomes your priority. If you think like that too, I bet you a lot of you will be able to accomplish a goal.
That's right. You got the doctor visits, you got to prepare the nursery and educate yourself, and
there's so much homework.
Baby-proof the house.
Yeah, man.
Finalize the plan, because in T-minus 40 weeks, everyone's gonna say, I'm ready to celebrate, and welcome the baby into the world.
Yeah, man.
Right, to be your new business.
Exactly. That's the expansion aspect of it. Like all of those exciting things, like, oh, I get to.
Like you have graduation in 3 months. How much work do you have between those 3 months? Like still a lot, probably. You still got exams and stuff, and.
Well, I'm free right now. I have my last big exam coming up in November.
But it's
my last big.
You're gonna have to study.
Yeah,
and be prepared for it, and and that's the finish line for you. But there's still homework to do.
What's beautiful,
work you've got to put into your mind and into your life.
What's beautiful about that is that once you do it and you reap the rewards of it, it's easier to do. It's just like, oh my, I know this. There's no doubting that it works. There's no doubting that if I want to,
or the fact that
I could do it.
You just proved to yourself that you could accomplish that goal.
You could accomplish that goal. You do it one time. And the goal can be very small. But if you do it one time, you have to remember that this is reproducible. You will continue to grow and move and expand.
And it builds your confidence.
It does. It builds your conviction in the fact that it works.
Yeah.
And that's what makes your confidence go up. Like,
so cool.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, dude, creation is a beautiful thing when you realize you have been blessed with the power to create. But creation is not a beautiful thing when you don't understand this power, or you don't realize it and you misuse it. Then it can become very confusing, and it can become very frustrating, because now you're unconsciously creating versus consciously creating. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much that you can do as a human when you consciously create versus unconsciously creating. And most people, I think, live life, at least from what I've seen, not knowing that they have the ability to create their life exactly how they want it to go. And
I think that comes from just being comfortable. A lot of people find themselves in a position and maybe it pays all right and they can pay their bills, and then they just go and find that community or
that's
or
true.
that hobby,
Yeah, man.
like watching TV or something, and then it just becomes their lifestyle, and they repeat the week
Exactly.
after week, the same exact routine.
Yes.
And they get comfortable. Then they don't they don't think, how can I, expand? And that's what having goals is for. I mean, that's why, there's just so many points in your life that are almost like when you're playing like Mario Kart and you see the little like launch little pad thing that you're excited to come up to because it's gonna push you forward. That's there's a lot of things in life that are kind of like that for me in general, like in my perspective, and I think that I really do what I can to like push the gas towards those launch pads.
I like that. So it's like a Mario Kart reference. We excited for the launch pads. We're trying to dodge the turtle shells.
Yeah.
But if you get hit by one, a green one or a red shell, right? It
Yeah.
spins you around. It's how
You're
you're
confused.
gonna
Like,
it's how you're gonna accept that and then get refocused
Yep.
and then charge forward, knowing that now you're behind your anticipated
Yep.
timeline.
And now you
wanna
want to
get
race
up
back.
there
You want to figure out how to
because
do
we
it.
have the pregnancy energy.
Yeah.
Baby on the way,
Yeah, I
energy.
love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's a great analogy. Great
man.
analogy.
Oh.
Thank you, Nintendo.
Yeah, man.
You got the Luigi mustache.
Yeah. Perfecto.
Dude, yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think that's great stuff. I mean, everything that we talked about today, I think there's no doubt that our audience will be able to
Yes.
take little
Yeah.
nuggets
Yes.
from this and improve their life or people that
For
they care
sure.
about.
Yeah, man.
I love having conversation with Justin. Honestly, bro,
Yeah.
you bring so much good conversation. Like,
Beautiful.
You cover topics that are just people don't care to talk about.
Yeah.
Justin, is this your apparel right here?
Yes.
So Justin does have a brand. I do want to encourage you guys to go check it out. What's the Instagram?
Innate Artistry Master Training. It's a brand that is associated with chiropractic, heavily chiropractic. So if you want to learn more about chiropractic, the essence of chiropractic, we post on that page beautiful little short reels called Mastery Talks, where people really get to talk about chiropractic in a different perspective other than musculoskeletal pain, more along the line of how does it make you more adaptable as a human being to evolve and grow and expand and be able to actually live a life expressing yourself to 100%. We talk about chiropractic in that light on that page.
That's so cool.
So
We love that.
yeah,
and,
man.
then, and then you have a separate page for your apparel.
Yes, but that's a whole nother story. That's kind of merging. It's merging.
Oh, it's merging.
Yeah,
So-
we're in the
Okay.
process of reconstructing it.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, give Justin a follow, Justin Jones on Instagram or
Yes.
wherever you can find him. Stay tuned for our next episode. It'll be out the second week of October. We're almost in October.
Dang.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, my birthday is next week, so
Ooh.
Congrats.
Thanks.
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Nice.
Well,
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Leave us a comment if you found any topic interesting today. Thank you so much.
PWR Podcast. Dude.
Thank you.